Hey guys, we graphed sine cosine yesterday, and now we're going to go into graphing trig transformations. And before I have you watch the video, I wanted you to do this warm up with me. All right, so what I want you to do is pause the video, and the first thing is I want you to identify what is going to happen to the function. Okay, so they have the function to the right. And then based on A through E, tell me how the transformation changes the function. So I will do A with you before you pause the video so you know what's going on, just to give you a refresher. Remember, if I look at A, if I take f of x and I add 3, that is going to shift this up 3 units. So we have a shift up 3 units. Okay, so I would be taking the entire graph and shifting it up 3 units. All right, now pause the video, go through B through C, tell me what the change is. Now, you've paused the video, let's check your answers. The first one would shift the graph up 3 units. So if I needed to do a sketch of that, because it tells us to sketch it, I'm going to find my maxes and mins here, or these critical points, and I'm going to use those and shift them up. So this first point is at 2. I know if I shift that up 3 units, it would be up at 5. This point here is at -2. If I shifted up 3 units, it would be at 2. This point's at 1. If I shifted up 3 units, it's going to be at 4. This point is at 0. Up 3 units will put it at 3. And this point here is at 1. Again, if I shifted up 3 units, it's going to be at 4. So we got our new graph. If we do a sketch, it looks like so. Okay. Now let's change the color. Let me see what you got for the next graph. So the next graph, you should shift it down. Okay, so the next one is going to shift it down 4 units. Again, I'm going to go to my critical points, and I'm going to move them down 4 units, right? So a -4 goes down. So this point here at 2 is now going to be a -2. This point at -1 is now going to be at -5. So it's going to be down here. This point at 1 is going to be at -3. This point at 0 is going to be at -4. And this point at 1 will be at -3. So our shift down 4 units is going to look like so. That's how it's going to transform the graph. Now let me change the color again. Let's look at this one. Now we're subtracting 2, but notice it's inside of the function. Remember, that's when we shifted to the left or right. So that's whenever they're adding or subtracting to the x, they're shifting to the left or right. And it was the opposite of what we felt. So this would be a shift to the right because we're subtracting 2 units. So we're going to take all the points and shift them to the right. So this point here, and now we're looking at the x values. So this one is at -5. I move it over 2. So it's right here at -3. And this point here, which is at -3, I'm going to move it over 2. It's at 1. And this one's at 0. Now it's at 2. And this one is at 3. I'm going to move it over to 5. And this one's at 4. So now it's at 6. So now I moved everything to the right 2 units. And if you sketch this out, and it worked out, you're doing good so far. Let's change the color again. And let me go for, I haven't did purple. All right. So +1 is going to obviously do the opposite of what we feel because it's to the x. I'm adding 1 to the x. So this is going to shift it to the left 1 unit. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my parent function, and I'm going to take everything and shift it to the left 1 unit. My critical point, I move this one at 5 over to the left, so now it's at -6. I'll move this one at -3 to -4. I move this one at 0 to -1. I move this one here at 3 over to 2. And this one at 4 to 3. And there we have it. I shifted everything to the left 1 unit. Okay, so let's look at our last one, and I will go for red color. What does this do? Okay, whenever we multiply, we're going to have a vertical stretch, right? So we're going to take and stretch this thing. So we're going to take and stretch this thing, and it should be 3 units. So that means what I'm going to do is take every single one of my y values, and I'm going to multiply them by 3. Okay, so all of my values get multiplied by 3. So over here where I am, let's go back to the original function, right? So over here where I'm at 2, I multiply that times 3. So that would bring me up to 6. Down here where I am at originally on the function -1, I multiply it times 3. And that is going to bring me to -3, right? So I'm going to be down here. Right here, when I'm at 1, I'm going to multiply it times 3. So that's going to bring me to 3. Over here, where I'm at 0, I multiply it times 3. That's going to keep me right here. And then up here where I'm at 1, I multiply it times 3, and that's going to bring me to 3. So if I think about it, I have went ahead and stretched this thing. Look at it, it's stretched out 3 units. And there we go. So I put a vertical stretch of 3 units on the function. All right. So I want you to just think about all the transformations, look at them again, check your work that you did. And what we're going to do next is we are going to take these same transformations and we're going to put it in terms of our trig functions. And you're going to see how it's very similar. But now instead of talking about regular functions, we're going to be looking at our trigonometric functions. All right, guys, good luck.